Well, hi everyone. I'm trying something here. I just recorded a long version of this same video, and this is going to be the short version. I'm going to decide which to upload. You'll know it's this one if you're hearing this now. What I'm going to do essentially is, instead of making a long rambling video, is make a shorter one and ask a few questions. Depending on the response I get in the comments section, I may make some follow-up videos. I wanted to comment on a recent Thunderfoot video where he was discussing an appearance he had on the Magic Sandwich Show and a discussion he'd had with a theist about objective morality. And he'd asked basically the question, objectively morally right to stone a man to death for picking up sticks on the Sabbath? And the answer given was yes. I'm sure we're all aware of the Bible reference there. He subsequently asked, would you do the same if you were commanded by God? And the answer was yes. And would you do so happily? And the answer was yes. And towards the end of the video, he put up some text where he said, essentially, if this can be called God, what's left to call evil? And I found that interesting with respect to something that I would call God being saved harmless when it comes to responsibility. And so, we seem to be held to a different standard of morality than God. Typically, in our world, in the worldly sphere, we assign responsibility for moral actions sort of proportionate to the entity's power over causation and their comprehension of those same standards, right? And so here we have the being with omnipotence and omniscience, arguably the most powerful, most knowledgeable being, who arguably also created evil and created beings, created everything, and created beings with the potential for evil, being completely saved harmless from any responsibility. And this all forms part of the reason for me that I don't find the Christian theology all that compelling. It feels quite nonsensical to me. And so I'd like to know, from theists, of course, in particular, why God doesn't seem to bear any responsibility. In fact, why he's even glorified for the results of evil, that souls writhing and burning in hell would bring glory to God. And additionally, what I'd like to know is, how do you reconcile the notion that nothing happens outside of God's sovereign will and decree, and that he knows all of our nature, of course, he created all of us beforehand, so that even if he didn't particularly plan for a given event, let's say a rape, even if he didn't plan for it, he knew that it was inevitable. So how does a theist in particular reconcile the immediate sort of heart-wrenching sense that you want to reach out to your fellow human being, the victim of this horrible, horrible crime, and to get on the soapbox and declare from the rooftops that this is objectively morally wrong, with the notion that your God actually knew that was going to happen. And in essence, in a way, you're actually questioning his plan. Because ultimately, God is glorified by that rape. So you're, in a sense, questioning God's glory. And how also you reconcile that with your own, I would say, moral responsibility. If you were to look outside the blinds and see that a woman was being raped on the street, you would have some moral responsibility to, at the very least, push 3 buttons on your telephone, right? God knows about every possible rape and every possible murder and every possible atrocity. I mean, we love to invoke Hitler. God knew about all that long before it happened. Where was his moral responsibility to act and prevent or intervene in these events? And how do you reconcile that with the notion that all of these things actually glorify God? So in an effort to sort of maintain some level of self-discipline, I'm going to cut it right there. I know I've got more to say. I'm going to cut it right there, and I'll wait to see what kind of responses I get, and then that will dictate if I make any more videos on this particular topic. Thanks everyone very much for watching.